Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lori. I wanted to do a video today on connecting and communicating with the higher dimensional consciousnesses, beings, and energies that are around us, whether it's your guides, your family of light, your star family, the galactic families, ETs, angels, ascended masters, dragons, fairies, you name it. Basically anything that is existing in a higher dimensional field than you currently are with your physical form. A lot of times the human calls this channeling, and we have this notion, I think, that channeling is bringing in and speaking out loud or writing some sort of channeled piece of information that's not yours. And that is true, that is channeling, but channeling is also just receiving or connecting to higher frequencies, higher consciousness, higher energies, higher meaning in another dimensional field. So it's vibrating and spinning in a dimensional field that you can't see because you are not vibrating at that dimensional field. Your body's not vibrating there. However, we as human forms have a channel in us, which is why we call it channeling. We have a channel within our form, and that channel holds the 7 energy centers. That channel connects to the 5 energy centers above us, and it actually goes beyond that, right? But this channel is literally an energetic cord, and it is designed to allow the human form to connect to these higher dimensional consciousnesses that we can't access physically in the 3D because these consciousnesses don't exist in the 3D. But we can connect to them as we open up our channel, which is the 7th energy center, and we begin to allow these energies to move into our field. And then we begin to absorb them, basically digesting them into our channel. And then once those higher dimensional consciousnesses, beings, masters, angelic realms, whatever, as soon as we start to digest it, which is just basically opening up our crown, right? And then the antenna comes up and we start to go, oh, I feel this, I feel this. There's all this consciousness around you, right? And then it gets digested and moves into the channel. And the channel is where you uniquely discover how you translate that energy, right? So translating the energy or the consciousness can be through speaking it, writing it, drawing art, doing light language, just sitting and receiving the downloads of information and trying to figure it out in your own mind, right? There's so many different ways in which each of us uniquely kind of is drawn to translating the higher consciousnesses, okay? Now, the higher consciousnesses, again, are your guides. They are your star family or your galactic family or your family of light. They are collective consciousnesses. They are the angelic realm. They are dragons, fairies, gnomes, anything that exists, again, that is not in your dimensional field, which is the 3D, okay? Now, again, we are all designed, the physical form is designed to be able to access this consciousness, these consciousnesses, all of the consciousness around us. Because, again, we are designed to shift into a 5D field and then a 7D field, the physical form is. And so, of course, the physical form is designed to be able to hold consciousnesses and frequencies that we are swimming in that we can't see, right? The form is designed to be able to do that because that is one of the ways in which the physical form slowly begins to shift into these higher dimensional consciousnesses itself, right? The form is in advanced technology. It's just that we have to anchor higher frequencies in order to acknowledge and understand and feel and experience the advanced technology that is our human form, okay? And so what's happening right now for a lot of us is that we are beginning to recognize and beginning to tap into these beings, these energies, this consciousness, And it could be happening randomly out of the blue for you, right? You could be thinking that you're going crazy. Like, what is this? I feel like I'm hearing things and I don't know why I'm hearing it, right? There's things that are coming into my head and I feel like I'm crazy because there's nothing standing in front of me, right? So you're beginning to expand into higher states of consciousness as your physical form is anchoring more light. And what that is doing is it's allowing the channel to start to really turn on, right? So it's clearing out the density that sort of clogged the channel up. And as that density is cleared out and the channel is starting to clear, it's starting to run the energy clearer or faster, cleaner or faster, right? So you can imagine it like a drain. The channel is like a drain. And if it gets clogged, when you pour water down it, it filters very slowly and it could get stuck, right? Very difficult to sort of allow the water to come all the way through and do its job, right? It's the same thing with your channel. There's density that can get stuck in that channel, right? And so because again, the way that any consciousness enters into your human form, which means any experience, any interaction, any trauma, any pains, anything that is experienced outside of your physical form is digested through the channel, right? Even though you have an energetic field around you, which allows you to navigate and feel all the consciousness around you, the way you experience it, digest it, and understand it is through the channel. And so what happens is that as it gets digested through the channel, any experience that you may be having with a human, an animal, an event, a place, anything, right? The energy is processed, digested through this channel, and then it gets kind of disseminated throughout the physical form if it doesn't go through completely. The way it goes through completely, of course, is if you allow the experience to be felt 100%. If it's a painful experience, you're not going to feel it completely. Aspects of that experience is going to be held in the physical form, and then it's going to create density in the physical form until you tap into that and allow it to be cleared by feeling it, recognizing it, seeing it, right? This is what we've been doing for a couple of years now, maybe many of you for many years. This is how you clear density. And density literally is something that you've consumed outside of your physical form through the channel. Okay, and remember, with the human form as a baby doesn't have any density, any dense consciousness in it, other than the muscles and the organs and the veins and the blood, right? There's no consciousness that's been consumed yet. There's no density of consciousness in there yet. But as soon as the spirit, your soul, enters into that baby and you begin to digest the consciousness around you, you then begin to hold that consciousness in you unless you experience it completely in the moment that you're having the back and forth experience. Most of us have been programmed to not do that. The point being here is that the channel is getting more and more clear for us, where the density is being pushed out. And as that channel clears, consciously or unconsciously for you, right? Meaning you're aware of it or you're not aware of it, you're starting to open up to other energies and frequencies around you, which means that you're starting to experience it in your channel. You're starting to feel it, hear it, know it. You're starting to interact with it, right? Because what's happening is the channel is clearing because of all the beautiful work that you've been doing. And you're starting to allow the seventh energy center to open more and more. How you allow that to open more and more is that you start asking for it to open, right? Or you're starting to ask for more communication with your higher self or your I am presence or the beings around you. Just by you asking for more of a communication, your higher self will assist you in opening up that channel, which is opening up the seventh energy center. Now, of course, if you say every single day, my seventh energy center is open, my crown is open, my crown is open, my crown is open, then you're going to be even more accessible to all the energies and frequencies. Remember that the seventh energy center, which is the crown, it's designed to stay open. That's how the human form works. The human form works with an open channel. It's not designed to be closed. But because of all of the dense consciousness around us, we have unconsciously shut it so that we're not consuming all of that consciousness quickly and kind of chaotically, right? So when you do consume anything that comes in, it's almost like it's just trickling in, like through holes, as opposed to just moving in quickly, pouring through you, and then moving out. I'll explain what I mean by this. So if you dropped into a 5D form, right, and you were in a 5D consciousness, your crown is automatically wide open. Because again, you're not swimming in a 3D consciousness. So it's very safe. Safe meaning it doesn't feel crunchy or uncomfortable. There's not duality, right? There's not consciousnesses that feel frightening or scary or threatening. Sorry, my nose is itching really bad right now. I'm not sure what's going on. Excuse me. So when you drop in a 5D form, right, and in a 5D field, the crown is designed to be wide open. So as it's wide open, anything you're experiencing outside of the physical 5D form will be moving straight into your crown, right into your channel, flooded through. You'll experience it completely as it moves through, and then it moves out of you and you're onto the next now moment. That's being in now moment, right? A now moment state is a crown wide open, you stepping into an energetic experience. Any experience you have is energetic, okay? In a 5D field, the crown's open, you're having an energetic experience with another 5D consciousness, right? And that exchange happens. It's absorbed in the channel just like it is in 3D. But because the channel is wide open, right? And because you aren't in a dualistic reality where something feels good, something feels bad, the bad I'm not going to feel, so it's going to be remaining within my physical form. 5D consciousness just moves through, you experience it, you feel it all, and it moves out of you. Your body stays, the physical form stays clear. It stays light. It stays open, right? When you're in a 3D consciousness like we are right now, there is duality, and so it's very crunchy, right? There's things that feel good and there's things that feel bad. There's things that we want to experience, there's things that we don't want to experience. However, what we are learning as we start to anchor into a 4D field is that we are staying present moment more and more, which means, and we're opening ourselves, right? Which means when I experience something outside of myself, I then allow it to just be felt completely in that now moment, and it floods through me because my crown's wide open. It floods all the way through my channel. I experience all of it, whatever that exchange is, whether it's with a person, place, event. I just experience it because I'm in the now. And because I'm experiencing it in the now, it just floods right through me and I'm on to the next now. Nothing stays inside the physical form, regardless of how uncomfortable that exchange may have been. An argument, a discussion, holding boundaries, right? Ending contracts, whatever it is in the now that you're experiencing. If you remember that you are learning how to anchor into 4D, which means that the crown is going to be wide open, right? And so you're going to be in the state of presence, which means whatever you are experiencing is just going to flood straight through you. You're just going to feel it. That's how energy moves. And then it's going to flood right out of you, right? That's present moment. That's anchoring into a 4D field. That's allowing yourself to just be the energetic being you are. And that's recognizing that your channel is working. It's doing what it's designed to do, which is take in, consume the energy, and let the energy move right through you. It's the exact same thing when you channel, right? You are interacting and engaging with a higher dimensional consciousness this time. So not an actual physical person, place, or event, but a higher dimensional consciousness that you can't see, but you can feel it. And you're learning how to feel it, right? You feel it, and that energetic exchange moves into your channel, and then you digest it and experience it however you do. So when you're in a 3D exchange, you experience it with thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. So you have a thought about that exchange, you maybe have a belief about that exchange, you have emotions for sure about that exchange, right? So that exchange in 3D, person, place, event, exchange, is digested into the channel, and then it is translated in thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. You feel all of that, you experience all of that, and poof, it goes away, right? Then you move into the next now. When you are tapping into higher dimensional consciousnesses like your guides, your angels, ascended masters, ETs. ETs are just another name for star beings, galactic beings, star family, things like that, right? It's digested, so you're tapping into it. It's digested into the channel, and then it is translated. So you can translate it through writing. You can translate it through art. Maybe you'll translate it through light language. You translate it through movement. You translate it through voice record, right? You're recording your voice and you're talking, right? That's how you engage and communicate with higher dimensional consciousnesses. Your channel is open. There's no such thing as, I don't know how to channel, or my channel is closed, right? It's always open. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to digest the consciousness that you're digesting in every now moment since the moment you dropped into that little baby form. It's just a matter of how open is it, and learning how to recognize that you're connecting to these higher consciousnesses. This also includes the higher self and I am presence, okay? Because they also are always being funneled through that channel, because they are an aspect of you that is in a higher dimensional consciousness, right? So the channel is always open. It's not a matter of my channel's closed, right? Because even if the crown is closed, energy is still moving through it. It's just really hard to experience it because it's just dripping, sort of, right? It's like if you're taking a shower and you have the water on high, but the water got turned off almost, right? Oh no, the water is on, but the drains are clogged, right? So it's like you're just getting little drops. You're just getting very tiny drops of water. The water's on high, the energy's coming in, but because the crown is closed, there's only a little bit of communication. That's why a lot of times people will say, I can't hear, or I can't feel. You can, you're just learning how to remember to do it, right? Because what we don't understand as humans is that in every now moment, as we're walking around as energetic beings, we are constantly channeling the 3D consciousness into our bodies, and we're translating it. Every experience you have is channeled through. Every experience. But because it's a 3D consciousness, it's very easy to translate it. Oh, I just met someone I really like. That feels like happiness, joy, giddiness, my butterflies in my stomach, excitement, right? We've had these experiences before. We have another similar consciousness experience of that. It's the same similar consciousness. It's an energy. Every exchange is energetic. Every time you walk into a room, it's an energetic experience. Every time you have, any experience you have, in any now, is an energetic experience. It's an energetic exchange, no matter what. And that is what is being digested in order for you to understand what this is, right? Your ego and personality and mind can't understand it until you are energetically funneling it. Everything is energy, which means that it has to be digested and understood, which is why we have a channel in the first place. If the physical form didn't have a way of integrating or translating or digesting energy, we would literally be walking around like mummies or zombies. There would be no ability to navigate any of this. It's all energy. So beyond the veil of language, beyond the veil of sight, beyond those veils, beyond the veil of hearing, it's energy. It stems from energy. It's just that we can't see the energy, so we think that it's a form talking to us. It's actually energy communicating to energy. And that energetic exchange is experienced through the channel as a thought, a belief, a paradigm, a program, an emotion, right? All of that. So you're always channeling. You just don't realize that you're doing it. And so now what is happening is you're starting to become a multidimensional human, which means that I am starting to open up to higher dimensional consciousnesses, not just 3D consciousnesses. And as I open up to these higher dimensional consciousnesses, I have to remember what it looks like or feels like, how it's experienced, right? How I invite it into the space, into my realm, into my field. And that is what we are all doing right now. How do you open to it, right? What does it feel like to you? Does it feel like you're hearing a different voice? What does that voice sound like? Does it feel like an energetic frequency around you? Does it feel like there's actual things physically around you, but yet you can't physically see it? You have to start to participate in your multidimensionality in order to begin to engage. You have to keep your crown wide open 24/7. You have to know that you're safe in doing that. There are many different paradigms that you can play in that tell you you're not safe. You have a choice. It's your choice to believe that you're safe or not safe when you open your crown. You're not a victim, and nobody's doing anything to you. Okay? So choose the paradigm and then follow what occurs with that paradigm. Wide open crown, you're completely safe. Okay? Unless you want to open up to things around you that do not serve and are not for your highest good, right? I don't know why people would choose that, but it's always a choice regardless of whether you believe that or not, right? From a much higher perspective, everything is choice. So first and foremost, you want to keep that crown as wide open 24/7. And in the beginning, you want to be conscious of that. My crown is wide open. I'm a multidimensional being. As I'm walking around, I know no matter what, that I am always connected to higher self, I am presence, and all the other higher dimensional beings with me right now. They are with you, whether you feel them, see them, or hear them. They're with you. It doesn't matter whether you can see them in the 3D, because you're not going to. You can't hear them in the 3D, okay? So you have to get rid of any of those expectations. It's not going to happen right now. They don't exist in that field. They don't exist in this field. So they're not going to show up in this field. They're doing their best to communicate with you. You're doing your best to communicate with them. And you're learning. So you have to get conscious. The crown is wide open. And then you begin to remember that even if you can't see, feel, or hear them, they're around me no matter what. They're around me no matter what. They're always around me. Now I have to start to engage and figure out how to communicate with them. And that's when you start to invite them in every now moment as often as you can. Invite them in. It doesn't matter if you know their names, because by the way, people, they don't have names. Names only exist in a 3D consciousness, sometimes a 5D consciousness, right? But names are something that we've created in order to grab a hold of it and to understand it. It becomes tangible. Otherwise, there's nothing tangible to hold on to. It's just consciousnesses, right? Which it actually just is. But the labels allow us to grab specific consciousnesses and hold it and understand it. So forget about trying to figure out the name of it and just understand that it's around you. Just call it your family, call it your guides, call it your team, call it your whatever you want to call it. They don't care. It's energy and it's an energetic exchange. So as long as you have the intention of connecting to them, they pick up on that energetic exchange and they come in. Remember, you have free will and they obey free will. So they're not just going to try and infiltrate you. They're going to wait for your energetics radar to say, yes, let's go, I'm ready, let's go, I'm ready, let's go, I'm ready, let's go. I want to communicate, I want to connect, I want to speak, I want to hear, I want to feel, all right? And then so those are the things that you want to start to do. You want to start to open crown. You want to start to get conscious in every now that they're with you. You want to start to invite them into your space. Invite them, literally saying, I invite you in, come in. I'm inviting you into my car, into my shower, into my bedroom, into everything. I'm inviting you in. Show me how to work with you more. Tell me how to communicate with you more. How do I know you're with me? Speak to them as if they are human beings, right? It would be like if you just met somebody on the, you just connected with somebody and you met them and you're going out to lunch and you're hanging out at lunch with them, right? And then you just don't say anything. You're waiting for some sort of sign that they're with you. But they're right there. You have to start to connect with them. You have to start to talk to them. You have to start to communicate. You can't just wait for them because they may not ever speak, right? It's the same thing with higher dimensional consciousnesses. You have to start to engage. You have to start to engage whether you feel them or not. It doesn't just turn on all of a sudden, right? Because they're always there. You have to start to engage. And then it becomes a matter of navigating the entire fun experience of what does it feel like? Am I hearing them? Am I not hearing them? Did I just hear something? Did I not, right? You become the scientist. Did I feel something? Did I not feel something? You could have a practice where you sit every day for 5 minutes and you call them into your space. Whoever you want, whatever beings you want, you call into your space. And you begin to practice bringing them into you closer and closer, right? This is not about I don't know how, right? This is about remembering how to begin to engage. However it feels good to you to begin to engage. There is no such thing as needing to clear more, right? Because again, whether you still have density that needs to clear out of the channel or not, your channel is still working, okay? It's still working. It's still funneling. You can do this. You can do this. You don't need to continue to clear things, process things, purge things in order to begin to do this. You can do it right now, no matter what you're going through, right? So the important piece about all of this is to remember that you're channeling in every now when you engage in your everyday life. You just are so used to channeling the 3D consciousness, and it's very simple and easy to do it, that you don't realize that you're actually channeling it. It's actually coming into your channel. And so now you have to start to understand that you are accessing your multidimensionality, which means that you are stepping out into the multidimensional realms, the realms that you can't see. A lot of us, we always talk about being in higher states of consciousness. We always talk about the new earth and 5D and doing all these, in all these kinds of higher dimensional states. Well, this is what it means. It means that you are not a victim. There's nothing wrong with you, right? And that you have to begin to participate and do it. You have to start to participate and do it, which means that you have to start to understand that it's not necessarily going to be the way you think it's going to be, right? So the expectations need to be thrown out. You have to understand that it requires a huge amount of patience, a huge amount of surrendering, a huge amount of love for yourself and compassion for yourself, and the ability to be able to stay as present as possible in order to experience the now multidimensionality that you are. You have to start to get really, really, really sensitive to everything around you. The more sensitive you can be to your energetic field and to the energies around you, the more you're going to be able to feel them, which means how do you get sensitive? You get present. See, a lot of times we are so consumed by this 3D consciousness. We're on our phones, we're watching TV, we're on the computer, we're reading something, we're listening to something, we got music on, we're on the phone. There's always something happening that distracts us from the now moment of opening and receiving what is occurring energetically around us in different dimensional fields. Even when you meditate to music, right? Or you meditate to a mantra or something, you are distracting yourself from the higher frequencies that may be trying to communicate with you. Silence is golden. Silence and sitting is where it all is. That's where the magic is. So if you can find yourself in moments wherever where there's no distraction And you just start to feel yourself and recognize that you're standing in many different dimensional fields at the same time, that there are higher dimensional consciousnesses around you, connecting to you, communicating with you, that your crown chakra, the seventh energy center, is wide open so that you can start to, the antennas go up and you can start to tap into it. And then you begin to allow yourself to feel how you are going to be translating those higher dimensional consciousnesses. So first and foremost, you may just be sitting going, am I feeling anything? I don't know. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, right? Does my body feel a certain way? A lot of times what happens is you get into a space where you're kind of just sitting quietly and you spend 5 minutes kind of connecting to them. And then you get up and you start to do your day and you're hearing things. Something pops in. There's an intuitive hit. There's a nudge, right? It's always happening. So you want to stay present as much as you can and feel in every now as much as you can. A lot of times what these beings show me is that the human, even if the crown is open, the human is so consumed in the dense consciousness of 3D and the mind is going and they're distracted that it's challenging for the human to hear. It's challenging for them to connect to it, right? Put the radar out. Oh, I got something. My family of lights right here. I'm pulling it in. I can hear them. I can connect with them. I can feel them. Because you're consumed in all the other stuff. You're distracted. There's so much going on. It's not your fault. You're swimming in a dense consciousness. The news, the media, social media, your family, your friends, your work, your whatever it is. So we are learning as multidimensional humans swimming in a 3D consciousness how to remain open and the observer as you are navigating your 3D consciousness. When you become the observer, you then can start to watch yourself swimming in consciousness, watch yourself on email or on social media or watching the news. You're watching yourself as the observer, which is a higher perspective of you, staying open to the higher dimensional realms. So that means you're doing an email or you're watching TV or you're doing social media, and at the same time as the observer, you are accessing higher dimensional consciousness. So when I go about my day, I'm consumed in 3D consciousness. I mean, I'm on my phone more than I really wish I was, but I am always observing and accessing higher dimensional consciousness all the time. So I may be in an argument with a friend of mine or a family member, right? Where it's like a crunchy kind of conversation for me. And yet I am observing it and accessing higher dimensional consciousness. I'm hearing my guides come in. I'm hearing the higher self communicating and saying what I should be saying or doing or being, navigate, how to navigate this crunchy conversation, right? So I'm not tunnel visioned in 3D consciousness. So if I'm having a discussion or an argument with somebody, I'm not in such a tunnel vision where I am stuck and consumed in just this consciousness. I'm observing myself having this conversation with a wide open crown, accessing the other dimensional fields, which are my guides and my higher self, while I am having this conversation. That's being multidimensional. It's not one or the other, it's all at the same time. And you do it by recognizing and observing yourself in it while you are open to the higher dimensional realms that are with you. Because no matter what, these are always around you. I put it up here because it's just an easier way to sort of differentiate it, right? But the higher self as an aspect of you is always funneling through that channel. It's always moving like a figure 8 through that channel. So you're always able to access it. It's a matter of stepping out of your linear frame of mind to be able to observe and step into that higher self consciousness. I'm going to do a video right after this about higher self versus ego and how they work and why they work and the roles and all of that. So it'll come next. But anyways, the point is that we're all starting to, our radars are coming on, right? The channel is opening more and more. We're starting to desire that connection and communication. We're starting to learn how to access that communication, that connection. It's all about remembering. We are designed in this form is designed to be able to do this, and you've been doing it. Now it's just doing it in a multidimensional realm, which means higher dimensional consciousness. Okay, so before I end, here are some of the things you want to start to do. Okay, you want to start to have the crown open 24/7 as much as you can consciously, which just means that you are always aware of the fact that your crown is open. So if you have to say, my crown is wide open, then say it. My crown is wide open. My crown is wide open. If you feel like you want to shut your crown, go ahead, but there's no reason to. You're safe. You're designed to have the crown open. My crown's open 24/7. I never shut my crown, and I never have entities coming into me. I never have dark energies coming into me. I don't have any fear. I never have fear. Fear doesn't enter into me about energies coming in. I've got a protective sovereign field around me, and I understand that. So, but do whatever feels most comfortable for you. You know, be aware of the fact that you're not a victim and you have choice in what paradigm you're going to play in. Okay, but if you can, I would recommend keeping the crown open and being conscious of it being open, and then eventually it just stays open. You're not worried about it anymore, and you just know that you're wide open, right? Then what you want to start to do is get conscious, and every now as you're walking around, that you're a multidimensional human, that you're accessing higher dimensional consciousnesses, regardless of whether you hear, feel, or see it. So first, you just want to be aware of it. Okay, then what you want to start to do is ask these consciousnesses to come into your space, come into your field. I'm ready to communicate. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to co-create. Let's go. You start to open dialogue. You speak out loud. You speak in your mind's eye, but you are actively, consciously throughout your day communicating with them, regardless of name, regardless of understanding it. Okay, you have to start to engage blindly before it can make sense to you. You have to. It's never going to make sense. It's never going to be this beautiful book where it's like, here's how you do it, and then off you go to the races, okay? You have to just start to do it when you have no idea what you're doing. Otherwise, you're just going to be twiddling your thumbs and waiting forever. Start doing it. Then I recommend quietly sitting for 5 minutes if you can, longer. Quiet, solitude, no music, no mantras, no nothing. And just sit, eyes open, eyes closed, whatever feels comfortable for you. Sit and just be in the multidimensionality of you. Keeping crown open, moving into your breath. Find the breath and you'll be in your body. You're always in the body, okay? By finding the breath. So, by the way, I didn't say this, but this is the most important piece. If you're not in your body, you're not going to connect to your channel. If you're not connected to your channel, you're not going to be able to experience any of it, right? That's why so much consciousness, so much trauma and pain gets stuck in the body, because as you're experiencing it, you're out of your body. If you're out of your body as you're experiencing trauma and pains and stuff that you don't like out there, if you start to consume it and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, that's too much, I'm out, you escape out of the body. You're not in the channel and you're not processing and clearing it as it comes in. Then it gets stuck. It's density stuck in there, right? It's the same thing with channeling higher consciousness. You have to get into the body to connect to the channel, okay? And the way you do that is by finding your breath. That's it. Super simple. Find the breath. Where's my breath? I'm in my body. Where's my breath? I'm in my body. Great. Okay. Right? So you find the breath all day long, because then you're in your body and then you're connected to your channel. So sit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes every day if you can, even if it's in bed right before you wake up, if it's in the shower, whatever, right? But you want to be quiet for 5 minutes. Solitude, silence, nothing. Maybe it's outside walking during your lunch break. I don't know. Not when you're in a gym exercise. No, silence, okay? Because in the silence is when you're able to access. It can be very uncomfortable in the beginning for a lot of humans to be in silence, but that is where it happens. You're not trying to quiet your mind, okay? It's not like a meditative technique where you're trying to quiet your mind. You're not trying to do anything other than sit in your multidimensionality. So as you quietly sit, Remember, you're opening up channel, you're sitting into you're grounding into your body, you're feeling your body with your breath, and then you invite in any beings you want, and you have no expectation. Just invite them in and see what it feels like. No expectation, just coming on in, right? And as you start practicing this, you'll start to get more and more familiar with how this works. You've got to start, right? Then what you want to do is you want to start to become the observer, which many of you are already doing, of all of your now moments. I'm observing that I'm on social media. I'm observing that I'm engaging with somebody. I'm observing that I'm having a fight right now. I'm observing it, because when you observe it, you are also connected to the higher dimensional consciousnesses, including your higher self. It is the higher self that's observing. So when you become the observer, you're stepping into the higher self aspect of you. And that's when you're able to access guidance, messages, clarity around what's happening in the 3D. You're not stuck, right? You're not consumed by it. You're not a victim to it. You're watching yourself as a multidimensional human experiencing a 3D consciousness, a 3D exchange of energy and consciousness. And you're aware and open and accessing other dimensional consciousnesses at the exact same time. That's being multidimensional. That's what you're practicing. And nobody's going to come in and say, hey, do it this way, do it that way. Hey, you did it right today. Hey, you missed this little frequency over here. That's not going to happen. So you've got to allow yourself to just explore this. And the very last thing is allow your imagination to play in all of it. You've got to allow the imagination to access, to be open and free and play in order to access the higher dimensional consciousness. Imagination is the third eye participating. Your third eye is what accesses these higher dimensional consciousnesses, and it uses imagination, which basically just means accessing higher dimensional fields that you can't see or hear with your third dimensional senses, right? And so the imagination has to be able to open in order to tap into the realities of these higher dimensional consciousnesses that you can't see palpably, hear palpably, touch palpably. So what we call imagination, and we instantly think it's not real because of the word, right? So when you say imagination, that equals not real, which is a disservice to the word, right? And the word is imagination equals higher dimensional consciousness, right? So if you think about imagination, it's the tool for higher dimensional accessing higher dimensional consciousness. You have to have and use your imagination in order to access the higher dimensional consciousnesses, especially when you astral travel, which I'll talk about in another video. But you have to be able to allow that imagination to open. What would it sound like? What would it feel like? Oh, this is it. Oh, this is what it sounds like. Oh, this is what it feels like. Oh, this is what's coming to me. I need to trust this. This is what's coming to me. I need to trust this. This is what I'm feeling. I need to trust it. This is what I'm hearing. I need to trust it. This is what's being provided to me through my third eye and through my imagination. I need to trust it. Then start asking yourself, as you're starting to experience energies, higher consciousnesses, these beings speaking to you or communicating with you, connecting to you, you have a choice. Believe it or not believe it. It's a choice. Do I want to believe it or not believe it? Why choose to not believe it? Just believe it. Just say, I'm choosing to believe it, whether I have any proof. You're never going to have proof. There's no proof. There's no tangible proof in higher consciousness, so get used to that. So your choice is you believe it or you don't believe it. It's up to you. But the more you do this with them and higher consciousnesses, the more you'll start to believe it. The more you'll start to trust it. The more you'll start to recognize that this is how it works. And then it becomes easier. And then you get more used to it. And then you get more familiar with it, right? You don't remember when you first dropped into the baby form that you had to understand how ego works. You had to understand how to digest consciousness, how to interact, how to engage, how to feel, how to process emotions. You know, we had to learn all of that. It's the same thing with higher dimensional realms. You're learning, okay? I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to stop there. Channeling is just communicating and connecting to these higher realms, and it's so natural. It's what we've been doing our entire lives with 3D consciousness. And I am going to be doing a 4-week live course teaching all about channeling, which is how do we connect? What does it feel like here? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? What are the ways in which we're doing it? I do this class once a year, and I'm opening it back up. And the first class is on November 19th. It's 4 classes that are live, so we connect live on Zoom. I love this course because I always open portals when we're together and when we work together live, and all of the higher dimensional consciousnesses enter into these portals and we access them. We feel them so much more than when we are kind of doing our own thing, navigating our life in every now moment. And the last class I did last year was so magical. And so many people began channeling when they had no idea that they could, right? And what's so great about this class is that the 4th class is a class where we practice live. So you get to choose whether you want to or not, but you come on to the class live and you practice channeling in front of me and the group. And that is really where the meat of the class is, because it's not until you're forced to actually sort of channel out loud, meaning connect to energies, what does it feel like, look like, hear like, that you actually realize you're doing it. So the link down below to register for the class is, I'll put it down below. It's $325, 1 payment or 2 payments. Again, it's 4 classes. They're going to be on Tuesday, so the 19th, the 26th, December 3rd, and December 17th. We have a whole week in between the 3rd and the 17th to practice. And it's live from 10 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. If you can't make it live, you'll get the replays. You can reach out to me if you have any questions about it. You can reach me at contact@loriladd.com. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Click the thumbs up button if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. Let's see what else. I love you all. I'm so grateful for you to being here. I do have my online community right now. It's up and running. It's fantastic. And this Friday, I think it's the 18th, I'm doing a free live mini session with one of the community members. So I don't take mini sessions, individual one-on-one sessions. And in my community, once a month, I do a free 30-minute mini session with one community member live in front of the group. And so the first one is going to be this Friday, the 18th, and it's going to be at 9 a.m. So I'll put the link down below if you're interested in checking out the community. If you want to put your name in the drawing for a free mini session with me. I'm really excited to do this. Again, leave your comments down below about how connecting to these higher dimensional realms is working for you, not working for you, questions that you may have. And don't forget, we are innately designed to connect to all the beautiful assistance and guidance that we have. And you're doing it, whether you are recognizing it right now or not. So be patient with yourself, be loving to yourself, be compassionate to yourself, and know that no matter what, you will begin to connect to the beings around you supporting you. You will. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, you will. I'll see you next time. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Be gentle with yourselves.